right, today we are going to be doing a inference strategy lesson. So, in the last lesson, you learned how to use the steps for the infer strategy on factual questions. As we reviewed, there are two major types of questions that you will be asked to answer: factual and think and seek questions, as you can see on the board, right? Also, I said you have already learned about the steps of the infer strategy and factual questions. Today we are going to learn how to use those steps to answer one type of think and seek question, which is the big picture question. You'll practice using the infer strategy with both factual and big picture questions. Your job is to listen carefully, take notes, and participate in the discussion. Later, you'll be completing at least one practice on your own. We're going to skip that for time being. I just have to say it. So who can guess what the big picture question refers to if you are reading a passage and being an active reader? If you are looking for the big picture, what are you looking for? When you read a passage, what do you think the big picture question is?
What people are doing?
Yeah, kind of. Emotions. When you look for the big picture question, you're looking for the main message the author is giving the reader, or the main idea. Have you heard of the main idea? Yeah.
That's what we used
What
to
do you
learn
think
about,
the
but
big
we don't
picture
learn about it no more.
What do you think big picture questions might be then? Do you know of any examples?
Inferences?
Kind of, yeah. Big picture questions require you to figure out the main idea or the big message related to the passage. Sometimes they ask you for the author's purpose or some summary information about the passage, like what do you think the setting is or the tone of the passage. Some examples of the big picture questions are: what is the main idea of this passage? What is the author's main message? What is the main idea of the first paragraph? And as you can see on this slide, there's many more.
Why is there so many?
I'll bet that in every list of questions, you'll find at least one big picture question. What are some big picture questions that you have encountered on tests at all? Or by teachers asked? You've been asked, like, what is the main idea?
Yes.
You've been asked that before? Yeah.
And supporting details.
So that is a big picture question. You can usually recognize a big picture question if certain keywords are used in the question.
Can you pause it?
Nope, I can't pause. We can talk after, okay? These keywords include words like main idea, purpose, summary, message, theme, setting, and the tone. Let's go over the definitions for these words. So the main idea is the big idea in a paragraph or passage. The purpose is the author's reason for writing that certain passage. The summary is a single statement that tells about a long passage. Message, the author's communication in writing to the reader, what the author wants the reader to know or understand. Theme, another word for message or what the author wants the reader to know. Setting is the place where it takes place. Tone is the feeling of the passage or what kind of emotions are going through when reading. And, hey, you're going one step ahead of me. Keep in mind that good readers attend to big picture issues as they read. If you figure out what the author's main message is, how will that help you? How will that help you by figuring out what the purpose of the story is or the passage? Will it help you comprehend it more?
You would learn what it's basically about.
Yeah, it's basically telling you what the passage is about. You'll be able to understand more. If you understand something, you remember it longer. Readers who understand the big picture can remember the details better and longer. What questions might you ask yourself to find the main idea of the passage?
What do we read and what were the characters doing?
Yeah. You can ask these questions for either a paragraph or a passage. When you answer them, you will be able to match your main idea up with the answer to the question you've been asked. When you are asked
CC
to decide the
#8.
author's purpose, you might be given several purposes among which you must choose. Remember, purpose meaning reason, so we are looking for the author's reason for the writing something, all right? Let's see where we are on the slideshow. 12. One reason the author writes is to entertain, and that means the author wants to make you happy and give you a pleasant activity for your free time.
Am I doing this?
Yep, we will do that at the end. Another reason an author writes is to inform and to persuade. We're going to skip through some of this just for the time being.
Step for
All right.
Strategy.
Yep, we're going to get to that. When we're going to do the characteristics for a good answer, okay? The answers to big picture questions have the same characteristics as the answers to factual questions.
What are factual questions?
Like things that happen in the story.
You will
They need to be completed, complete thoughts related to the information in the passage. They need to answer the question. In other words, when you find a clue and you think you know the answer, state the answer to yourself as a complete thought. All right? And let's go over the infer strategy, and then we're going to read our passage and answer questions quickly, okay? So infer, the I is to interact with questions and passage. For the first step, you will read the questions and think about them. Be sure to read the whole question. We're going to note what you know. For the note step, you will decide what kind of question it is and what kind of and you write a code letter next to the question. So you kind of look to see, is that a factual, a big picture question? What do you think letter would we use to represent the big picture question?
N.
B.
B?
Because B is for big picture. All right. F is to find the clues. For this step, you will read the passage and look for the clues to why that's the answer. In the explore step, you look for other clues in the passage that will help you support, and we're going to return to the question. Once you think you have a good answer, go back to the question and look at the answers to see which one is best for it. All right? So, remember to be flexible in how you use the steps of the strategy. You might find that you have to go back and forth between the passage and the question several times to check for support before you can choose a good answer for the question. You might also find the passage that a passage has several reasons or purposes to why it is written. I see. All right. Do you want me to read this passage? All right, we're going to read this passage and then we're going to answer some of these questions. Secret message. Secret messages are easy for certain kinds of people. These people can see differences between colors that look the same to everyone else. That was how Anita started her club, the Truman Middle School, or at Truman Middle School in Danbury, Connecticut. She bought a lime green felt marker and some lime green cardboard at the office supply store. Then she wrote an advertisement on it. She taped it to the inside of the door to the girls' restroom. The advertisement said, if you read this, you can join my club. Or if you can read this, you can join my club. It ended with her cell phone number. To most of the girls who looked at it, Anita's message was just a lime green nothing. It stayed on the door for 4 days. Then the janitor took it down and threw it in the trash. Anita knew that would happen. She had another poster ready. Anita knew that her ability was very unusual. She was also very patient. After 3 weeks, only 2 girls had joined her club. Nevertheless, 3 girls with a special power can do a lot. They kept their club a secret. They didn't want anybody else to know what they were going to do. At their first meeting, they elected Anita president. Trudy was vice president, and Donna was treasurer. They needed a treasurer because Anita planned to make a lot of money. All right.
What is a treasurer?
It's someone who deals with the money. So, like... All right.
Money.
So,
Or
question
booty.
1. Do you want to scoot in so you can see? Or
Pirate's
I can just
booty.
hold it like this. All right. Question 1. This story is mostly about A. Truman Middle School and school activities, the way people see different colors and use them.
B.
C. Some girls with an unusual ability who formed a club. Or D. A fairly common ability in middle school students. C, right? And that's because they were saying that only 3 or
3 girls with an
an unusual ability. Awesome. 2. What happened to Anita's first poster? A. It was ignored. B. It was thrown out.
B.
C. It was used for a new sign. Or D. It was hidden from
B.
the teachers at the high school. Yep, it was thrown out in the trash can. 3. The purpose of the story is probably to inform the reader, to thrill the reader, to frighten the reader, or to show the danger of secret messages. You think it's a... Why would you think it was that?
Because sometimes people do that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, it could be a reason. The reason for this is to inform the reader about the school secret club, or even to thrill the reader, because it's kind of a cool thing. It's for like your enjoyment. All right. A new title for this passage could be Differences Among Girls, Club, Reciting Practices, Reading Bathroom Signs, or Starting a Secret Club. Yeah, starting a secret club. How many people joined Anita's club? 3, 2, 1, or none? 3. Awesome.
Finished.